All righty. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is Truth Talk. I am your host, Raven Flower. Apparently, I'm feeling very, snazzy today. I don't know. It must be the carnelian. I'm holding the carnelian. We're at the end of the week. It's been not the best of weeks. I mean, and especially for my guest that is on board and how he came on board in the middle of the tragic snowstorm and no power and no water and no anything. We had to reschedule. We had to make it happen, but we're here. The thing is that we are here. And he had just said something that was so funny. He says, "Let the healing begin." So let the healing begin. We've gotten a lot of comments, private messages from people that have said that these truth talks are, they're very raw. They're really empowering. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're extremely sad. And that I should possibly put a trigger warning on these. So, hello, trigger warning. It's going to happen.
Lots of trigger warnings. We're going to talk about sexual abuse. We're going to talk about Christianity. And so if any of that stuff is triggering to you, please click off.
Please click off. Yeah. I'd like to say, though, talking with one of my friends, we had kind of came to the realization that life doesn't really come with trigger warnings, but as a YouTube content provider, I am giving you said warning, and you can do with it with what you will. I am a survivor of much, as I have just told Sir Darlene here. And some days are good, and some days are like horrific. Things that wouldn't normally bother me sometimes do. And we are in the middle of retrograde, so people, please remember that. Actually, we're almost done with retrograde. Oh, thank God, because this one has been absolute shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the worst winter storm in 30 years in Texas, man. Oof.
Glad I got out.
Yeah.
Here I am in the Pacific.
I've been passing all kinds of stuff, just like, Apollo, you can come back now. Yeah. So that's been my whole thing.
If you don't know him already, this is my friend Aiden, darling. Hello, darling. And I'm sure you get that a lot. Hi.
Yeah, I do now. Yeah.
He has a truth to tell, and so without further ado, Aiden, how did you get here? What's up?
Oh man. Well, I was watching your other truth talks, and I know that you invited me earlier, before you even started the first one. And I kind of wanted to get a feel for it, plus timing was like a huge thing. But I wanted to get a feel for it and see like what other people were talking about. And people were being like, just crack their heart open, show their entire soul, and I was like, I can do that.
It was not something I asked them to do. They did that on their own accord.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I think the whole thing is, I think the thing that some people may not see, but what I'm taking away from it is they're still alive. They not only survived that stuff, but they're finding ways to thrive, and I think for me, that's what I try to do with some of the things that I went through. So, shit, where do I even start? I wanted to talk about two things specifically, and then if you want to like ask questions, that's completely cool. Hello, Noah and Rebecca, by the way, and Jennifer.
I know
both Jennifers.
Here. Yeah. I see. Yep, they're all here.
So, I didn't have the best childhood, but I wouldn't say I had the worst. I grew up in like a somewhat upper middle class home, but not like super upper middle class. My dad had a really good paying job after my sister was born. My mom, I love both of my parents to death. Like I love them. They're my parents. I did have trouble with certain family members, specific. I can't even not say it, specifically my mom. Because my mom at a young age was diagnosed with bipolar by a psychiatrist. When she was diagnosed, she threw the medication in the psychiatrist's face and said, F you, there's nothing wrong with me and I'm not taking anything. And so my mom has been unmedicated basically her entire life. And there's all sorts of issues that go along with somebody that they know there's an issue and they just decide not to do anything about it. And so I had a mom that was,
Man. So I want you to know that is something that happened to me. My mother was diagnosed manic depressive schizophrenic. And for most of my childhood, when I was bounced around as a kid, I was kind of deposited to various family members and friends because they were hospitalized. And I witnessed what you're going through when you have somebody who is unbalanced like that and decided that, and that's part of their disease, is to be like, I don't need no pill. And then the rest of us wreak havoc because of it. Okay, continue. I'm sorry, I just want you to know you're not alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people that have the same issues, mainly with fathers. They don't have it as much with mothers. But my father was actually my rock. And that's something that I have found as I've gotten older is very rare. And so I feel very humble and lucky to have such a good father figure in my life. My dad's on the other side of the spectrum completely, and he just has like depression. I would say just general depression. I wouldn't say it's like super bad or like almost non-existent. It's just, it is what it is. He's kind of low all the time. And I'm pretty much the same way. I would say mine's a little bit worse, because I go days, sometimes months, just feeling low. And when I'm having a depressive episode, because I go completely quiet. Yeah. And so, but my mom had a few narcissistic tendencies with using the Bible as a weapon in my childhood. So you do this because the Bible says to do it. And everything was justified through the Bible. Even treating people bad was justified through using religion. Yeah. And so from a young age, there was certain parts of it that I kind of resented because I'm like, if these people are so happy and so joyous, why are they so angry?
Right. Ooh, that's good. That's good.
Does that make sense? Yeah, and I understood that as a little kid, like 8, 9, 10. I was like, there's a disconnect.
Yeah. If everybody's
like this so is happy supposed to be.
Yeah, if we're saved and everything's fine, then why is everybody so damn intense all the damn time? Yeah.
And I think what I took away from church towards the end was this is supposed to be a place of healing. This is supposed to be a place for the weary to come when they're just out of all options and they just need something to cling on to believe in. And we treat those people like shit because they don't have money. Most of the time.
Yeah.
So sorry if that hits close to home. That's just my experience.
No, it hits close to home. It was a similar experience. Not exactly the same, but but when I was in the church as a young person, I had grandparents that are still missionaries, actually. And, so they were maybe a little bit higher up, but I think it depended on the different type of church that I went to. So when one was more Pentecostal, I felt that it was a hell of a lot more judgy. And everybody was like nitpicking about everybody else's life. And, you want to give testimony and you got to so many things. It's just like, well, I need to know this person because God told me that I need to set them straight in their ways. And then they make it all public. And it's just a way to basically talk shit about people. That's how it was.
Gossip is actually an addiction. I don't know if you know that, but it's a part of addiction. And so it's a sneaky way to justify their addiction. I don't know. I'm just putting some thoughts out there. For me, I really loved the church for a long time. I led a Bible study all the way up until I graduated high school. But on and off, yeah. And it was fun. Like, I feel like I was really making a difference. And I think I did. Even now, I'm just like, that doesn't mean, it wasn't all in vain. I think I did good things for people. I think I helped. I gave people the opportunity to let some things go, and I will never regret that. But I think everybody just has to choose their own way of living in their own path. And so later on, so basically, yeah, I had a mother that what's funny is through her being so manipulative, narcissistic, having those tendencies. I don't want to say that she 100% had them because I can't diagnose, but she does do a lot of those things. She actually taught me how to be better at it than her. And so she got a big taste of her own medicine later in life. And she just doesn't screw with me anymore because it's exhausting for her. So there's that. So, yeah. So during my teenage years and all through that, sexuality and questioning. I think when I got into high school, like middle school, 8th grade all the way up to 12th, everything was, who am I? What's my sexuality? What do I believe in? I was studying all different types of religions all the time. I was experimenting with all different kinds of stuff online, if you catch my drift. Like, I was curious. I didn't know. I had no idea what I liked. And when, guys would come to me and be like, that girl over there is really sexy, I'm like, yeah, she's pretty, but like, and so but the
hair. She has nice hair.
She has nice hair. But I'm just like, hey, beanbag hagwag, I love you. Anyways, hi, Lisa.
Yeah, Noah wants to know when you got your necklace.
Oh yeah, Rebecca made this. I bought most of the I ordered the materials, sent them to her, and she actually made it for me, and she did a wonderful job. Yeah, I love this. I'll talk about this later though. That's the second part of this. I'm going to try to make a huge part of my life very short. So I questioned a lot. There was a lot of religious stuff going on. And towards the end of it, I just, I decided that I wanted to do what would make my parents happy, because I thought that I could find my own meaning and purpose in my life through making my mom and dad proud of me.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I denied my sexuality and started dating a woman. And at the time, I was really good at lying to myself. I was really, really good at it. And so I had convinced myself, because at the time I was like, I guess I'm just bisexual. I don't know. I at that point, I didn't know. I didn't even start dating anyone until I was 21. I was a very, very late bloomer. I was just more interested in books and other things. I just didn't think about it. And maybe that was a part of my suppression. I suppressed really, really hard because of my religion and the way I knew my mom felt about it. I was told by a parent at the age of 16, if you ever come out to me as gay, lose my number and never talk to me ever again. And by the way, my entire side of the family will have nothing to do with you either. This is something that was told to me at 16. So I was so terrified that I was like, well, I guess because I'm bi, because I thought I was bi at the time, then I'll just date a girl and whatever. No harm, no foul. There's this other side of me, and I didn't really deny it. I was like, yeah, that's a part of me, but that's not all of who I am. And so, because at the time I was like, I know I like guys, but I don't know if I like girls or not. Because at that point, I had done nothing with anybody. And so, hey, Snow. And so I dated this girl for 3.5 years. We got an apartment together. I thought we were going to get engaged and have kids and everything else. And then everything just kind of fell apart, because at that point, The last time we broke up, I was 23, and lots happened. So in this little tiny amount of time, 3.5 years, I have started talking to guys on a dating app months or about 4 months before, because at that point I'm like, we're fighting. And at that point we were separated and I was just done. And I was just like, and at that point I was just like, you know what? I need to explore this other side of myself because I'm never going to know unless I just do it.
Gotcha.
And so I had decided to I talked to a ton of different guys, some of them super sweet, some of them a little too pushy, especially for somebody who's never been with a guy. And so at the end of all of that, I went on one date with this guy. One. And it felt like a Disney movie immediately. I was immediately madly in love with him. Immediately. He was everything I ever wanted in a human being. Everything. And so the next day, I broke up with her. She was devastated. I'm like, I think I found the love of my life. I need to leave you. I'm done. That chapter closed. And we never really resonated with religion anyway, because she was very hardcore Mormon and I was Pentecostal. And I was like, no. Ain't gonna work. So
I know. I've been trying.
And in between all of this, to make things even more complicated, I was on and off practicing witchcraft since 16. So on and off, I'm like, Christianity, Wicca, Christianity, Wicca, Christianity, Wicca, and just on and off, on and off, on and off. I could not make up my mind about anything in my life, people. Nothing. I was like, who the hell am I? And so I leave her, I start dating this guy, and I madly fall in love. And then I'm like, you know what? I remember Tiptoe Chick. I'm going to go back to Wicca. And then after that, it was a little bit of a simmer. Like, I was so focused on work and everything else. I did things not very often. I was like, whatever, just kind of like left it over here. I was so hyper focused on keeping the relationship whom I thought was the love of my life. Mm-hmm. And towards the end of that relationship, it only lasted 6 months. I had fallen madly in love. I wanted to marry this man. He was everything to me. He was a professional actor. He was a professional model. He was like everybody's dream person. Like everybody's dream person wrapped in one.
Oh, I'm in love and I haven't even seen a picture.
He could play the violin. He almost got into Juilliard playing the violin. His father was a multi-million-dollar making lawyer. Like, the whole package. Just hard worker, worked his ass off, loved his life. And then I'm over here, and what happens when you say damaged person with happy person? No. And so what happened was because I felt like it was too good to be true, because I had not dealt with any of my trauma yet. Yeah. That it just imploded. He called me one day and said, I need to leave you. Don't get me wrong, there was things wrong with him too. He openly admitted to me that he was a sociopath before he broke up with me. 2 months before he did. So I'm like, yeah. And now that I'm older and been studying psychology a little bit longer, he's not a sociopath. It's just, yeah, he's just weird. So it's just weird. Men love to be like, I have no emotion. I'm dark and mysterious. I'm like, yeah, okay. But yeah. So
do 90s goth chicks.
Yeah. So he left me. And at this point, this is the lowest point of my life. And this is where I might actually get a little emotional. The night that he left me, to this day, thunderstorms, I can either really love them or really hate them. Sometimes they trigger me, because the night that he left me, there was a really bad thunderstorm. And I started drinking heavily, and I called a suicide hotline every other day for 2 months, because I just wanted to die. I felt like I had lost everything. Now that I knew I was gay and I knew what I liked, it's like going back to my family or my old friends was like not even an option. I felt like
Yeah.
I had no one. I had no one to talk to. And I finally, out of desperation, told my sister, which was a little ray of hope because she looked back at me and said, "Me too."
Really?
And I found out later that my sister is pansexual. Yes.
Okay.
And not only my sister, but I have a cousin that is openly bi and openly Wiccan, and
Wow.
she was the actual first person I ever tell in my family, and she goes, "Okay," and I'm just like, and I'm waiting for this, like, "I'll be there for you," da da da, and she does do that for a little while, but then I'm like too much because I need to go to a psychologist, and I just didn't. And so she kind of cuts me off, and I don't blame her. We kissed and made up later, not literally, but like we made up later. And so, yeah, it was a huge thing. I went through years of alcohol addiction. I went through years of sex addiction. I went through years of porn addiction and just shopping addiction. And I still have a minor addiction to food. One of my coworkers pointed out that immediately after I quit smoking, I started gaining weight, which means my addiction went from smoking to eating, smoking cigarettes. So
yeah, but
I've always
smoking
had a
cigarettes
little bit of an addiction issue.
doesn't smoking cigarettes also suppress your appetite? So if your appetite comes back and you're trying to figure out what is your normal, in that regard, I don't know. I don't judge you there because I'm a soul sister.
Yeah. And so I'm going through all of this, and then I basically meet this psychologist that helps build me back up. And she is a ex-Navy. She's an older woman, but she's ex-Navy. And that's kind of the kind of person I needed, was just like a pick 'em up by your bootstraps kind of a person, but also a person that, this is hard. A person that will actually just witness. I needed someone to witness my pain. That's all I needed. I needed someone to hear it and say, "Okay, you got it this far. What's next? You're not done." And just to have somebody not completely break down in horror and like not know what to say, and to actually look at me in the face, look at me in the eyes and say, "What's next for you?" That was the most healing thing that's ever happened in my life.
Sweetheart.
So, yeah, woo.
Yeah, we all go through these trials and tribulations, and especially those of us that are still healing from past trauma. And there are things that come up that you're just completely unprepared for. I went through a long time of, even after my kids were teenagers, and I had something so horrible attached to me that I just wanted to end my life. And I would look at Bear, and I'd look at my kids, and I'm like, you guys would be so much better if I wasn't here, and you wouldn't have to worry about all this stuff, and you wouldn't have to deal with all my problems and all my things. And finding that person that, which I'm very grateful that you did, finding that person that didn't sit there and be just like, okay, we're going to put this back together, we're going to put that back together, which is typically what I would do. If you call me, I'm going to try to fix you. Don't call me. I'm not your person. I'm just like, how do I help? Because it's just Virgo in me. But to have somebody to help not only listen, but I think that your counselor empowered you to start to think of solutions for yourself. You started to think, I'm like, what is next for me? I have an option. I have an option of trying to figure out what my life is, who I am, and what I want my life to be. Because when you are a kid in the church, and when you have been shoved down by sexual abuse and other things, you don't feel like you're worth it. And there are still many days that I don't feel like I am worthy of my husband, worthy of my kids, worthy of anything. I mean, and I know it's not the truth, but those dark little things start creeping back in, especially in a year like 2020.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so, Rebecca, oh my God, the pizza. So in the midst of healing from my past trauma and letting stuff go, here's another thing that like completely traumatized me during this time is I break up, I go through the breakup, I start dating this other guy, and I am given this truck by my grandfather. The truck would have given me enough money to move to Washington and completely start over, because that was my plan, is to sell my truck, get a less expensive car when I get up there, because the truck was paid off, get a less expensive car, get a shitty apartment, whatever, and just start over. Mm-hmm. The week I was going to leave, my truck front axle, driver's side, ripped off going 70 miles an hour down the highway, and I flipped 3 times.
Oh my God.
The week I was going to leave.
When you were going to leave Texas?
Yes. I was going to move to Washington State.
Let me just tell you, those of you that are trying to leave Texas, there is a curse. There is a freaking curse. Noah and I were just talking about this today, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? Like, something about Texas, it's like a dark void of doom that just latches onto you and pulls you back in.
I know why I was supposed to stay here. And this, I'm not going to cry. Rebecca, don't make me fucking cry. It was because I was supposed to meet Rebecca.
Oh.
It's because she is my soul. She is one of my soul sisters.
I feel 100%. The very same. I feel the very same about Noah and Snow. Trina and Tequila as well, but Noah and Snow, it's my heart. That is my brother and my sister, and I don't know what the weird connection is. I mean, I get you. And I'm grateful that I was there in Texas for a little while longer to have met them and had the fun that we'd had. I miss them so much every single day. And I know that they're going to be like, oh my God, here she goes again. There are times that I just catch myself crying because there are wonderful people that I've met here, but not the connection.
They're not them. They're not them.
They're not them. And it's like a piece of my family missing sometimes. I get you. Damn it.
Yep.
Yeah. Love. Yep. Okay, continue. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
And it's so crazy because through Rebecca, I met Noah, and I consider Noah a soul brother. And through Noah, I meet you. And I meet all of these wonderful, beautiful people.
Oh,
and so what I thought the church was taking away from me was my family.
Oh.
And what my craft gave back to me was a family.
Was a family, a chosen family that actually gets you on all these levels.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, I feel it.
And doesn't judge, does not judge whatsoever. Kiss a pig, who cares? Like, just do it. Like, it's crazy. So,
Tequila in the chat. She says, "Come back to Texas. We have cookies." Listen here, you need to come to Washington, and you'll realize why I moved.
I plan on after, and that's the plan. So now we're gonna get into why. Let me wrap this mental health part up, and the Christianity part. And the Christianity part. Let me wrap those up, and then I'll get into the witchcraft stuff, because I know everybody's excited about that. So far as the Christian part is concerned, here's a big kicker, and this may trigger some people. I apologize.
Trigger warning.
But I knew over time I was never going to be as effective with my craft, my witchcraft, until I healed the wound that was left behind by Christianity. I had to heal that wound. And so I had to, in some way in my mind, find a way to forgive that. Because at the time, Jesus was and still is a part of my practice.
Mm-hmm.
How, why, what, where, when, right? Because I'm not Christian. And the thing I've learned,
mystics. There are such things
right,
as Christian mystics, so
right,
it's very well to
and
call
so
that.
right, and so I was like, "What does this mean? I don't understand." And what I've come to realize is, it's not about people. It's about bad theology.
Mm-hmm.
My entire life, I've believed that what other people have said about the Bible is the truth. I get to decide what the truth is for me. Does that make sense? I get to decide who God is. I get to decide who Jesus is. I get to decide the way the Bible's interpreted. Because guess what? Everybody else in the fucking church is gonna cherry pick too.
Yep.
I said what I said. And so I healed my own wounds by not reaching out, but looking for people that have different ideas about what theology can be in Christianity. Two people I will recommend is God is Gray. She's on YouTube.
Okay.
And Kevin Garcia. He is a gay pastor, and he also practices witchcraft, and he does tarot professionally. But he's also Christian and a pastor, and he preaches at a church in Georgia.
There you go.
And he's lovely. So if you're trying to have some different ideas, look at Christianity differently and heal that wound. Look at those people, because there are Christians that are pro-gay rights. There are Christians that are pro-women's health. There are Christians out there that are pro-women. There are Christians out there that are pro all races. You know, not they're out there. They're just, you gotta look, you gotta dig. And I dug for a really long time. And when I finally found those people, my magic became more effective. Because I was able to let it go. I had to let it go.
Let the healing begin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that part of it also helps, you know, your magic, your practice gets stronger. The more comfortable you are with self, the more, you know, more self-confidence that starts to, you know, come. And through that confidence, you know, your magic does grow. It does. I feel floundering for the first, I don't know, year when you know, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm really going to hell. I just made the choice. I did my first spell. And I think I like sent a picture to Trina. I'm like, I did it. I did it. I've actually did it. And she's just like, way to go for you, you know, that type of thing. But it's just like, I really am just like, okay, there's no turning back. I'm really going to hell now. And it took a year. It took about it's a good solid year of me keeping at stuff not working, and realizing that I really needed to let go of all that crappy dogma and shit that, or I would say, leaders in the church's agenda over what the Bible actually said. Yeah.
And so you deprogrammed and allowed yourself to come up with your own theology instead of what other people have taught you to believe.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
yeah. I looked at it. I'm like, yeah. I looked at it like, okay, you know how you were saying that, you know, some of the things just felt like really oogie or gross when somebody would say something, or it would feel like too intense or too angry. I would look at those things that people had said to me and how I felt when they said them, and debated in my new way of life whether or not that was my heart truth. And that's like, there's that term that, people don't always remember what people say, but they remember how they made you feel, or, how they made you feel. And I remember how it made me feel. And I'm like, and that's the lie that I don't need. And let's take in stuff that made me feel good. So like praise and worship always made me feel good. And I would cry and sob and feel that energy. And I today, even though I don't believe in Jesus anymore, I do feel that it is all the same thing, and we just put it in the box in which we want, or how they want to come to us, and whether that be Bast, whether that be Hecate, whether that be Sekhmet, whether that be Odin, whatever it is, we're going to relate to God. But I feel that
it's so
all
crazy you say Odin.
Huh?
It's so crazy you say Odin. I just had a dream about him last night.
He's been very active lately.
Yes, he has.
Mr. Wanderer is wandering around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so all of this happens. And to wrap up the mental health portion, I basically, I still struggle. I have been suggested to take medication, but I'm not anti-medication, but I've done really good in just talk therapy. Just astronomically, most people could not without medication, and I did it. By the skin of my teeth, but I did it. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and generalized anxiety. And so my lows are really, really low. My highs can be really, really high. But I always start the day a little low. And so it's just one of those things that I've learned over time to recognize and deal with in constructive ways. Art, any kind of art and music and making things helps with it tremendously. Having people to hug and talk to and love on helps as well. Listening to people's stories helps. There's, there's days that I'm, like I said, there's just super bad days. I'll just stay in bed and cry and like watch TV and like have my pity party, and then I'll get up and be on my merry way. But major depressive disorder is a bitch. And I think it's only in some ways, in some weird twisted, like maybe this is bad to say, I don't know. But being so sensitive and so heart-centered and heartfelt has only made my craft better over time. It's only made it better. And what I like to say is I don't like to think of myself as a survivor. I'm more than that. I always look for the more. So when somebody calls me, oh, you do a lot of light stuff, you seem like a light worker, I say, no, I'm more than that. And they're like, and then they look at me like, oh, you're just being, full of yourself. And I'm like, no, I am more than just this. And whether they believe it or not, I'm like, I don't care if you believe. I know who I am. Thank you, though. Thank you for the compliment. But I'm more than just this one thing, And so, yeah. Labels and such.
Are you saying if this was Shrek, then you would be a parfait, or would you be an onion because all your layers?
Exactly. Now, we can get into the witchy stuff. So, to get into the witchy stuff, we have to go back to church. What? What's he talking about? Huh? So, I wasn't in an actual Pentecostal. I was in Assemblies of God, which is a branch of Pentecostals, like the sister church, okay? And in Assemblies of God, they believed in the gifts of the Holy Spirit, okay? So speaking in tongues, being filled with the Holy Spirit, prophecy, okay? They believed in God sending you visions and being able to paint them out, Okay.
Yep.
All of these things. And I could do some of those things. But when I expressed that I could do more than that, I was kindly told that's witchcraft. I was like, well, I know what I'm doing. So, yeah. And so, yeah, later on, the person that formally introduced me and inspired me to get into witchcraft was Tiptoe Chick. And to this day, I will scream her name from the rooftops because she was my witchy mama, you know. She wasn't biological. I didn't know her in real life. I never talked to her. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know she's gone. But she introduced me in a way that resonated with me. She was real, and she was like, if you really want to do it, just get a book, read something about it, study it, and just do it. And I was just like, but hell and hellfire and demons and da-da-da. And she was just like, fuck that, just do it. I was like, good point. And so, it's funny. I finally had someone that has a degree in metaphysics, and I would tell them what I would do privately as a teenager, right? I would have my little wolf stuff over here and and later on she goes, "You're already doing it, even without a book." I didn't even have a book at that point, and I knew how to make an altar just by intuition, strictly by nothing else but intuition. And I was like, oh, okay, we know who he is. So that's why, but I went back and forth because at that point, I was trying to make my mom and dad happy. I was trying to do what I thought would honor my mother and father because I thought that that was the way to live. That's what I was taught, you know, growing up, even outside of the church. You see other people in Texas, it's just a way of living, it's a way of life to make your parents happy, to make your parents proud. And so that's what I did for a really long time. So over these past 2-3 years, 2.5, almost 3 years, I meet Rebecca. I got to take a wallet. I make a YouTube channel because I see that Tiptoe Chick had passed. And I was like, you know, in my mind, I was like, if Tiptoe Chick's around, oh, you know, somebody will always be there to teach somebody something. Like, somebody will always be there. If she's around, she'll inspire other people to be around. They don't need me. And then when I find out she passed, I was like, I'm going to make a YouTube channel. And what's really funny is what solidified it for me was 2 other guys at work said, oh, we're going to make a YouTube channel and make it big and da-da-da. And I was like, there's no way. What are you talking about? Like, what? And they were like, oh, you don't know, da-da-da, we're going to, you know, and I was like, oh, okay. And then in my head, I'm like, I'm going to do that too. In fact, I'm going to do it better than you. And that's my Virgo coming out and being like, well, pa! And so I make a YouTube channel. Yeah. I make a YouTube channel and start making all kinds of stuff. They never even make their YouTube channel.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I do the get to know your witches tag and I meet Rebecca, and Rebecca introduces me to all these other people I would have never even had the opportunity to speak to without her. And now I know all these wonderful people and I've been welcomed with open arms. And it's like the very things I've needed in my life for so long was just put right in front of me. And it's all because one witch went on YouTube and said, it's okay to be who you are. And if you're a witch, if you're gay, do it. Be the thing. And love yourself. Love yourself through it. It's going to be a process. It's going to be tough, and you're going to have to work your ass off to openly be who you are, but it's fucking worth it.
Yeah.
Every step of the way.
I'm proud of
here.
You. I'm so proud of you. It's such a journey. It's such a journey, and I'm proud of you. I mean, If you ever get to come here and you ever get to stay for a week or weekend or whatever, I'll take you on over. Halfway up the island, we go to the ferry, and then we get dropped off at Port Townsend, and you go a little further up the road, and there's still flowers where she passed, where she had her accident. So I've passed through a couple of times and laid some stuff down for her.
Another person that's really helped me with my mental health stuff that I think you guys might be interested in, maybe. Healthy Gamer GG. He's on YouTube and Twitch.
Okay.
It might be Healthy Gamer _GG in some places like Instagram and Twitter, whatever.
Okay.
But that has been really inspiring to me because they bring normal, just everyday people on, and a psychiatrist just interviews them. He doesn't give them psychiatry live or anything. He just asks them questions. And it's really cool. It's really beautiful. And in doing that, I met somebody that also was going through major depressive disorder, amongst other things, mental health stuff. He passed away, but his story still inspires me. He went from a nothing, nobody kid in the middle of nowhere to a millionaire making a video game.
Woo!
Unfortunately, while he was making that video game, the pressure from coronavirus and everything else was so much that he unfortunately killed himself. But that person still inspires me to this day. And it's so crazy. I get into ancestor work, and all these different avenues just open. Thanks to Chris Ashburn, I will say. Because they're okay. Let me tell you about Chris Ashburn now. I got a whole rant for that.
She's going to be on in a week. She's going to be on in a week, literally. A little less than a week. So she's going to be on Wednesday morning, telling the truth.
Yes. And so what I want to say about her is when I started watching her videos, and after I didn't know about her until Rebecca had her on her YouTube channel, and then I had her on my YouTube channel, and I was just like, there's just something about this person that it clicks. She gets it, she understands it, and she just gets it, and I want to absorb her knowledge. And so I started getting on her Patreon, getting in her Discord, messaging her, hanging out with her, just being around her general vibe. And she has inspired me so much. And she has, I got her Ancestral 101 course, and that's been a huge, you want to talk about a huge boost in your practice. If you're not doing ancestral work, you're missing out. It is so fun. It's so cool. It's just fun. And so, yeah, I would recommend I would recommend her check her out, because what I've come to find is you start to realize in all those moments you thought you were alone, you were never alone. Never alone. Your ancestors are literally in your DNA.
Yeah. They're
always with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the morning after the storm, when my ex broke up with me and the sun came out, Chris said something that really got my heart. I have some Italian ancestors, and one of my Italian grandmothers came forth and said, "I raised that son just for you." And I was just like, stop. And so they're always around doing little things just to prop you up. They're always doing things, and you would never know they were there. You would never know. So yeah, I've been through a lot. I'm still learning a lot. Because I started with Wicca and like earth magic and stuff like that, and I just decided to call myself pagan because I don't do anything by the T. I joked with my friends earlier. I was like, my circle of protection is the circle of cheese with some crackers. That's my circle of protection. And so
is that what Rebecca's talking walking about with this cheese. I came for the cheese.
Yes. Yes. I came for the circle of cheese protection. Yes.
I love it. I
And
love
so,
it.
do you have any questions for me?
Do I have questions for you? One off the cuff, just because of what you said. Do you feel that because you are in your practice, do you feel closer to your ancestors? I've felt that
Mm.
myself, and I've heard from others that, because they chose this path, it's pretty natural to start looking at spirit guides, ancestral guides, things of that nature in order to hold the walls and protect you as you're doing what you're
Mhm.
doing. Especially those that are extremely sensitive that need a little extra protection. Do
Yeah.
you feel that?
My craft ancestor work has only better informed my craft. It was just like a little booster to what I was already doing. It's like
Okay.
I was already doing deity work. I'm not completely like blood dedicated to any specific deity, even though I work with 5, and that's a lot. But because I literally, guys, like I work with angels, deities, and ancestors, and that's like I'm good, like, and spirit guides, and now I'm just like, okay, guys, like I'm good, like don't send me any, I'm good, like, and so, yeah, it's been interesting. It's like on top of having all these real life friends, I have my own little crew on the other side as well, that I can tap into. Oh my god, I had the coolest experience the other day, and this is a part of Strega because I'm trying to get into Strega as well, Italian folk magic.
Yep.
And I was sitting in front of the stove, the propane stove, and just sitting there, and they just started talking to me. I just didn't want to move. It was just the warmth, and then like them just there, and I'm like, of course you're talking to me in the kitchen, because they're Italian, and they're just like, eat all the things, and I'm just like, oh god. So
I love it. I love it. I want to say, is tequila, is that right? That you're also Italian? I think that she had said that at one point, either on her channel or whatever, and she was taught how to read playing cards from her grandmother, which I thought was Italian. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. Lots of people, lots of stories,
yeah.
lots of stories, lots of things. Lots of things. But man. Okay. All right. I got a question for you. I'm going to bring it up on screen.
Okay.
This comes
What
from.
got me into tarot?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. This is going to be a really cheesy bad answer, but I had been practicing Oracle for a really long time, and I saw how I started watching tarot tubers, the Hermit's Cave, and the Tarot Lady, and Teresa Reed, the Tarot Lady, and all these other really, really inspiring. I started watching more Avalon Cameron and Kellyanne Maddox and all those people that are professional tarot readers. And they brought life to tarot in a way that, I mean, it's like every card it was like they could bring out an entire book out of one card. And I'm just like, I want to do that. And so I got inspired. And so I picked up one deck. And then I saw how many beautiful decks the guy from the Hermit's Cave had. And I'm like, I need more decks. And so now I have like over 60. And I barely even use any of them. Like I use this is the main one I use. Just if it shows up. This is the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot.
Yes, I have that one. Art Nouveau. Oh, it's one of my favorite art styles. I studied it in college. Oh,
yeah. And I'm just like, and just that. I'm good. Like I don't need, and it's all now. It's just like when spirit wants me to like read a specific way so they can get a specific message to me or somebody else, then I'll pick one of my other decks, because like this one is for healing my this one. This is the Divine Masculine Tarot. It's a Kickstarter, so it was a limited time buy, and I use this one for healing during. This is like trauma healing stuff. Like when I'm fixing to download something that's going to be hard to swallow, this helps me get there. It's like pick up your sword. Like it's okay to be that vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable and be male. Like it's like this stigma around vulnerability in men. It's so ridiculous. And so like this brings out that side of it's okay to be who you are. And like, let's like walk you through this. It's like a soft, sweet speaking thing to me, but in a masculine manner, which is like, yeah, it's great. Do you have any do you have any short-term and or long-term goals for this year? After I fix some of my financial issues, I plan on starting college. I want to get, I know why you brought this up. So amongst all of this, I would like to either get a degree in psychology. Yeah. I would either like to get, eventually I would like to get a degree in either psychology or psychiatry. And help other people that struggle like I do, or that have struggled like I have. And I want to make it inexpensive for people because I know how outrageously overpriced mental health treatment can be. And I want to be able to be that person that people can go to if they're just so happen to be a witch. And, you know, I want to be that for people, but even outside of that, just so happens to be gay, just so happens to be trans. I want to be that person that can hold space for people that are either unlikely to go unless they find the right person or, you know, whatnot. I want to be that person for somebody else, you know. What is your go-to type of spell work? Ooh, that's a good question. It's going to be really boring, but candle magic. All the candles, all the time. Candles.
Okay.
Candles,
Okay.
candles.
Candles, candles. They do things. Yeah, we'll get another one here.
Okay, so what's my favorite type of cheese? Okay, either extra sharp cheddar cheese Sargento brand. It has to be Sargento, or I think it's called Termalock, something like that. You can only get it in certain stores. Okay, that or pepper jack cheese. Most brands are fine, but pepper jack and sharp cheddar cheese. And what is it like to be so awesome and famous? I'm not, so that's just the answer to that question.
Oh my God. I'll leave it to a best friend. Man, they always call us out. They call us out. Okay. All right. Oh, I like this question. Hold on a second. And by the way, are you too scared of stinky cheeses? Because Snow and I want to know how you feel about
I like blue cheese. I like blue cheese. Yeah.
Okay, if you like blue cheese, try Camisola. It is a blend of blue and brie. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. So I got to find this other thing. Okay, here we go. Good question, Noah. Good question. And I'm...
Oh, you
Elijah.
already... He's just wanting me to talk about Klaus. Because, like, Klaus is, like, one of my, you know, famous actor crushes that if he one day decided to be gay, I would literally fly to England and put a ring on his finger and be like, we're married now. That's it. We're married. Yeah.
I'm all about Elijah.
Yeah.
He's true. Doesn't waver around. There's no crazy surprises.
Well, Elijah actually ended up being the more destructive one, in my opinion.
Well, you know what? I think they all had it coming. They all had it coming.
She's like, he's better. And then there's Lisa. I love Lisa. Like, Lisa's been really awesome and like hearing me out and like validating a lot of like witchcraft ideas and stuff. Lisa and Beanbag Hagwag. Everybody in here is like so lovely. I just love these people.
They are. I mean, I tried to explain this to one of my muggle friends. They're like, we don't see you much anymore. We don't do anything with you anymore. And I don't want to like flat out tell them, well, because we don't really have a relationship. I'm glad that you felt like you got something from me, but I didn't really get anything from you,
Right.
other than trying to help them, but truthfully, I I feel that this community for me is the tribe. And I've had this conversation recently with my kid Ridley, because they have found a whole online tribe just for them as they're, questioning and going through, the beginnings of transition and all this other stuff. And they just never felt safe. Obviously they're in Texas, so that ain't helpful. But they found this tribe and they're like, Mom, like they get me, they understand me. And I'm like, yeah, once you find it, you hold on to it. And there's so many people. When I was first starting my YouTube channel and starting to meet some of my friends in Texas, they were just like, well, that's not real. And I'm like, fuck you. Yes, it is. It absolutely is real. My relationships with my friends are more real, through YouTube and online correspondence. We've met each other in person. There is a connection that's undeniable. There's a chemistry there, and nobody can take that away from us. Nobody. Nope.
By the way, I bought myself those flowers for Valentine's Day.
Those are beautiful. By the way, I bought myself that candle. Where is it? Over here, there. I also bought myself that bag and this thing here. I should do a tour of this witchy room because it's getting thick. I should probably purge soon. It's too much stuff. Too much. Okay. Oh, another question. Got another question.
Okay. Any traveling goals after the pandemic? Lots and lots. I think I've decided I'm going to be... I think I've decided that my goals outside of work is mainly music and travel. I think what I want to do in my spare time is music, travel, and obviously my spirituality, but I can do that at any time anyway. Music and music and travel and magic. That's it.
This one I really like because Noah's thinking big. I love it.
Will you be on the next witchy cruise? If I can afford it, yeah.
Listen, honey, there are payment plans. You've got like years. You have years. We just have to decide where we're going. Holy questions. You are the most question asked guest I've had so far. Okay, go.
So my tarot card that I relate with the most is... most of the time it's the Hermit, because the Hermit is Virgo. And I relate to the Hermit in so many aspects because he reminds... I know it's silly, but he reminds me of Merlin. And if I was going to have anybody come and teach me something, like if I saw an old man in a robe with a cane and a little lantern walk out of the woods and say, I'm going to teach you some stuff, I said, hell yes, you are. I would follow that guy for sure. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I feel that. And I can see where you get that. I guess my life tarot card is the Tower. It's freaking constant. Constant.
What are your thoughts on doing magic during eclipses? Oh, hell yes. Look, okay. So dark moons, eclipses are good for... I don't know how it's going to sound really bad, but I don't mean it to sound this way. So for those of you that do not mind baneful workings, or there's really good shut the fuck up spells, there's really good leave me the fuck alone spells, and there's really good stay the hell away from my energy spells. And stay the hell out of my energy spells that are really good for those times.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's yeah.
I have friends that are so like, oh, I have witchy friends that are a little judgy of the fact they're just like, you've done what? And I'm like, oh yeah. Yes. Like,
Yep.
I have friends that do Haitian magic, and I
Listen,
have friends
if you
that do.
don't use it, what's the point? That's just me. Is use it. Use what you got, man. It's there
Yeah,
for a reason.
okay, with the caveat, do it responsibly.
Yes, but
Things.
have fun.
Yeah.
Experiment. I'm that crazy witchy uncle that's gonna tell you to have fun and like fuck some shit up. That's how you learn.
So
Learn through trial and error, man.
I was given a gift this Christmas by one of the people at work that is not kind to me and has some
Mm-hmm.
issues, and it's a bottle
Mm-hmm.
of wine. And
Mm.
what do you think I'm gonna do with that bottle?
Mm. Mm-hmm. I have some ideas. I have some ideas.
It's
So
actually
do they
weird.
smoke? Because if you can get one of their cigarette butts after they put it out, they don't smoke. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to sneak into their office, snip a little bit of hair, or get a little bit off of the used jacket.
I got that. I do have a piece of fabric. I do have a piece of fabric that he has used. I've done it.
We got some ideas.
Candles for that as well. I was in a really bad mood and made this massive candle. Some of y'all in the chat have.
I will say that I will say that tequila inspired me. Since she's here, I did want to say one thing. You know how she was saying she likes using black candles instead of white for most of her workings. Like she replaces the white with black. I am kind of embracing that because I have learned that black works better for me. Yeah, I like the black candles. Yeah.
Well, these particular black candles that I made, I was trying to do something, but I was in a really bad mood when I made them. And all of a sudden they stink like tar. It's like, it's horrible. I mean, it's horrible. And like my whole bottle of fragrance never smelled like what they were supposed to smell like. They're really bad. And when I gave some to some of my friends before I left Texas, and I'm like, y'all want to use these? And they're like, oh my gosh. Like, and some of them have pulled them out on an occasion when they needed to use. But no, I like to use all the I generally with my workings, I usually do a white and a black, the white for protection and, that type of impurity. And then the black to remove the negativity out of the thing. That's how I use it. How do you use your black candles? What are you thinking?
So my black candles have actually replaced because most people use white as a universal, like we can use it for anything. And I kind of feel the same way about black. I can do it with black or white, like it's whatever, because white's more readily available anyway. But I have found that the aesthetic helps me focus. And so I don't know what it is about black, but it's just like, I like the look and yeah. Yeah.
Goodness gracious, they keep on coming. All right,
before you answer anymore, do you have any other questions?
To me?
Yeah.
No, I'm okay. I think I'm okay.
Okay.
I just love and adore you and wish I was right there to give you a great big snuggle.
We'd eat ice cream and talk about witchcraft.
There's brownies involved as well, because ice cream and brownies and some tasty nuts. Just whipped cream, that'd be good. I'm just like, this is the diabetic talking. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, I'm pre-diabetic, so I'm right there with you. Yeah.
There's a magic during eclipses. There's a this. Okay, I'm getting to y'all people, y'all fast typers. Here I'm yammering on. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold the phone. Okay, we already talked. Did we already do this one? Yes. No.
What are your thoughts on? No, we haven't. What are your thoughts on aliens? How does that affect your perspective of universe energy? I don't think it informs my perspective of universe necessarily. I think that
universe. I like the way you said that.
Yeah. So it's more about like I recognize that there are extraterrestrials and things out there that we just cannot explain. And I think for me, I'm just like, man, unless they're going to come out and actually do something, they're there. Next. Like, they're just there. I mean, it's cool to talk about because, like, when you get into, like, Nephilim and stuff like that, then I'm interested because it's like, then you're talking about the alien civilization. Okay, so conspiracy theory people, okay? I believe that we were actually created through trial and error through aliens. We're the product of DNA rigging on Earth. And we were actually created. We were created to not necessarily serve, but we were created, well, probably in the beginning to serve, but we were created to serve these other aliens. And there were certain aliens that actually wanted to advance our brains. And then there was another section of aliens that were completely against it. Story of Garden of Eden. Okay. So there's one side that's like, we want you to have the knowledge. And then there's the other side that's like, we don't want you to have our knowledge. And so in all of that, I'm just like, man, unless y'all are going to show up, I don't care. Like, next. Yeah. Now, tapping in, I will say this, though. If you do plan on tapping into that energy, please do your research and take lots of precautions, because we would not want you to get abducted and then wake up sewn to another human being. So, because that's happened.
Okay, we're going to get to Jennifer's question, and then somebody had asked what happened to Hellier. This leads us back to, okay, so, y'all, never have I found a friend so willing to talk about conspiracy theories than there is Aiden. So Aiden, my friend, he and I are thinking about doing a monthly like conspiracy theory talk and start, basically I'm Dean, he's Sam, and we're going to go through, and that's right. Yes, I'm Dean. Moi. And we're going to go through like all of the different things, because I was watching this thing on Bigfoot.
That makes more sense though, because I have the hot demon girlfriend. That's fine.
Okay, that's fine. Well, because I like pie and I so
yeah, that's fine. I'm cool with that.
And cheeseburgers, I like cheeseburgers as well. Anywho, okay, so Aiden and I are thinking about doing a little thing where we're once a month talking about various things, because they talked about whatever happened to Hellier. I believe Hellier is still going. I have been following that group of people on Instagram. They're still researching.
They're still researching. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was watching this thing on Bigfoot the other day. Oh gosh, it's like a whole series in regards to Bigfoot. And there's this theory. I'm not even going to say, but anyhow, I'm not going to go into all the details, because we can talk about it later on when we come back and do something. Maybe we'll do on your channel, my channel. We'll cross off back and forth or whatever, talking about the various monsters and all.
You can actually go live on both at the same time, right?
Shut the front door.
It's a new thing. I don't know how to do it, but I'll figure it out.
Is it on StreamYard? StreamYard does this?
Mm-hmm.
Shut the front door. That's amazing. My Friday got a whole lot better. Okay, all right, good deal. But okay, anyhow, these Bigfoots were like trekked back to like a cave, and it was the same damn cave system from Hellier. And I'm like, oh, where is Aiden right now? I've got to tell him.
Everything goes to the fucking caves, and I can guarantee you I don't know. I think there's just like illegal fracking going on in there, probably.
Yeah, probably. I'm just like, I will never be one of the spelunkers. I'm too scared. No. No. Okay. Next question.
Do you have incense going on, by the way? Just out of curiosity? No. Okay, because you just had a little wispy thing, but okay.
Yeah, it's around. It's actually my aunt. She's around.
Okay.
Right now. Yeah.
Hey, Crimson Fire. Love you, hon.
Is it a Crimson here?
Yes. I love her. Y'all, if you want some good knowledge about, witchcraft, Crimson Fire's really good. I'm just saying.
Crimson Fire is a teacher. She is a mentor, and she has she has her own school. So
go to her Patreon. I'm just saying.
Support the Crimson Fire. And she is agreed to be one of my guests, but I think it's going to happen closer to the end of March or the beginning of April, if I believe, because she's got to figure out some things. And so Crimson is one of the guests that will be upcoming as well. Okay, new question for you, sir. What are your thoughts on aliens, and how does it affect your perspective of universe?
I just answered that. Go to the next one. I just answered that. Yes.
The host is behind. Okay, continue.
What are the spirits telling you anything that folks need to know about past, present, or future? Oh God, here we go.
That's a good question, Jennifer.
I'm gonna get out my tarot cards for this because I'm tired. Do you mind? Is that okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay.
I may just put one of my horses on. Hold on a second.
Accurate. I got the Hierophant, man. I got the Hierophant. I got the Knight of Wands. And I got the Three of Pentacles. Basically, don't make me emotional, guys. Please. A lot of us are going through a lot of very emotional, traumatic things, and we're healing from a lot of shadow work right now. And I think Mother Nature's kind of pushing us towards that naturally right now, with the pandemic and ice and snow and like just all this funk, right? Like we're all in a funk. We're all depressed in some way. We all have anxiety in some way. We're all worried about the future in some way.
Yeah.
I think what I'm hearing is your spirituality pushing forward through it, and being creative is going to lead you to unexpected joy in your life. Really hunkering down and understanding your heart and where it is and what you need next, right? Because if you feel like there is something, this is not me. If you feel like there is something missing in your craft, then you need to go to what's next. What's the next step for you? What is the artistic venture that you have not tried yet? What is the thing about your practice? What is the thing you've never tried before? What is the thing you're curious about that you've never done? There's so much to learn. There's this huge plethora of wisdom that's always there for us. But get curious, because curiosity is the divine nature of being human. That was not me. That was not me.
That's beautiful. Get curious. Oh, well, this path is all about constant learning. We've basically dedicated our lives to constant learning. I always have, I have a huge list of things that I want to do. And once my life sort of feels to free up in order to do those things. But the truth of the matter is, why would I be waiting for my life to free up? Why don't I just take a stab and try to do some of it, at least chip at it.
Chip away. Even if it's just a few sentences a day, writing it down and saying, this is what I've learned today. This is what I've learned today. Any little bit helps.
Yeah. One of the things that I got for my kids this year for Yulemas, I call it Yulemas because they celebrate Christmas, whatever. I got them each a new tarot deck, and they each got a tarot journal for the year. So that way they can sit there and put out their spreads and actually journal what those were, what was their question, what was their takeaway from, the spread and things like that. It's a very healthy way of going about things. You had talked about some tarot decks that you had used on the daily. I actually don't use tarot decks. I am a collector and I have very many. But I have the Enchanted Oracle cards that a friend of mine gave me, Mimi Pettibone.
I think those are the ones that I want. I think those are ones that I want. Yeah.
Let me just tell you, I've used other Oracle decks before, and this one is like, bam, like,
yeah.
And I'm just like, ooh, Mimi came with the heat, big time, and they're really beautiful. They're antique kind of pictures and things like that in there, which I love. I actually studied this artist. His name is Bergerot. He's a French painter. But anyhow, beautiful art in those. I use those. And then something else
I love vintage stuff.
I love too.
Vintagey looking stuff. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Get a hold of these if you can. And if you don't know who Mimi Pettibone is, she was one of our guests on the second 24-hour chat this last March. And she is the Dream Detective. She has a podcast, which I was just listening to today. She's got some really excellent guests on there. And then she has this deck, I think, on Etsy. I think it's on Etsy. But the other thing that I've been working with my counselor in regards to deep traumatic healing and trying to learn psychological warfare and various things that I'm not good at, because I take things so personally all the time. And it's like, Snow said, because I'm adorable Scorpio, I feel so intensely, so much more than other people, to the point of it drives me crazy. Like, it drives me crazy. How come nobody else is feeling this? How come nobody else sees this?
Right.
And it actually physically hurts me. So it's sometimes I have to like disassociate and go over here, just flips, like you've seen.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I'm just like, where's my Nora Jones soundtrack? Like, I need help. I need help.
Yeah. In the arms of the angels.
Seriously. But something I'm working with my counselor. My counselor has been so wonderful and empowering for me. But one of the things that she's helping me with is I said, can I apply the 4 agreements to what we're working on and my healing? And the 4 agreements is a wonderful book, theology of Don Miguel Ruiz, which I am also a Ruiz, so I identified with this. But it's different things about, it has little cards. So every day I can just, pick a card. And here's one that says, always do your best, which is one of the 4 agreements. Take your life and enjoy it. This is what I just pulled. Boy, well, isn't this interesting that we just called this? And the back of the card says, you are alive. So take your life and enjoy it. You were born with the right to be happy, to love, and to share your love, just to be. To take a risk and enjoy your life is all that matters. I do this every day if I am mindful and remembering, but I try to do it over coffee and reflection and after my stretching. And this has been very helpful for me in conjunction with therapy and the oracle and the talking to the friends, and this truth talk is actually helping me a lot. So there's that. Okay, moving on. We got more questions. Who? What?
I said I just love you.
I love you too. My conspiracy theorist brother from another mother.
Yeah.
All right. We talked about
Have you done any spirit box sessions lately? No. I will say that sporadically, I do plan on doing more of those. I'm not taking down my Patreon. I've taken a break from doing professional readings or a whole lot on my Patreon just because I'm so focused on other things. And, it's just, my life is so hectic right now that I think I'm just going to go down to like $1 a month. And that's it. If you want to be in the Discord and hang out with me and chat, I check it almost daily. And I think what I'm going to do is for the people that would like to participate in my spirit box sessions, I will be bringing those back eventually, because the way I do mediumship and the way the spirit interacts with me, they're very, very active when I turn on a spirit box. They just are. And sometimes I get some really interesting things. And I like having other people there that can say, oh, did you hear this? And I didn't catch it. And it's just this huge, beautiful experience for me, it's about healing. And connecting with those who have passed that you would like to connect with. That's what it's about. And then every once in a blue moon, a deity or somebody else might pop up, or a spirit guide, and they just have a message of hope and healing. And that's what it's about for me, is bringing a sense of hope and healing to one's life. And that's what mediumship is for me. Like, if it wasn't doing that for me, I wouldn't do it. So, yeah.
I just had one of my people, my wisp, just say something that you need a plate of, I forget what it's called. It's some sort of fried dough with like cinnamon and sugar on it. It is a Italian thing. I don't know. A big plate.
I know what that is. I have an idea of what that is. Yeah. Yeah, that's my grandmother. Hi, Grandma. That's one of my grandmothers. That's my Italian grandmother. If she ain't talking to me, she's gonna talk to you. It's just gonna happen.
That's what she said. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what that means, and I can't even pronounce it.
She's just trying to fatten me up. She's just like, why isn't he eating?
I'm gonna snap you like a chicken bone.
Yeah. She, I believe, is the one of my grandmothers that was actually a witch. I never knew her. She's like 1800s or even older than that, like way, way back. And I never knew her in life. But she knows me. Oh, she knows. She loves to be in all my business and then some. Like, she'll be like, did you hear about this? I'm like, stop telling other people's business, Grandma. Jeez.
A big plate of this, and I cannot for the life of me pronounce it. I'm not good with that kind of stuff. But that's what she said. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some paranormal investigation tools on your wish list? Noah, bring them in.
Man, nobody buy me anything. I'm going to say that now. I want an EMF thing. I don't have that. Like an electromagnetic field thing. I don't have one. They're super inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon. I don't have one. I think they're not very accurate either. Like, you actually have to tune them every once in a while, or they're not accurate. I didn't know that until recently. So an EMF meter, and me too.
I want
to I need to get some of those sleeper things for your eyes, and because I want to be able to do an actual, like, true spirit box, like utter focus, because in the moments that I do that, I get some scary shit. Like, everybody's like, you know too much about me now, put it down. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. And then what's the other thing? Maybe there's a very specific recorder that people use it was made in the 80s, and they don't make it anymore. You put actual, like, tape in it, and it's supposed to be one of the best video recorders that doesn't it basically the older recorders, sound recorders, I meant sound recorder. The old recorders that they used in the 80s and before that don't have like ambient sound reduction are the best. Because you want to pick up literally everything. You want it to pick up everything, because if it picks up everything, then that's when you get the voices. But a lot of these newer recorders, it cuts out ambient sound, and then you don't get the EVPs, if you will. So
I used to have one of those. I mean, it was oblong or like a kind of like a shoebox shape, and then it had the buttons on the side, type of thing. And then I would stick the cassette in or whatever. And I used to tape Family Ties and Facts of life. I'm really showing my age right now, because I only had so much TV time. My mother would only allow me to have so much TV time, so I would record the shows and then go back to my room and listen to them over and over again. How sad is that? Okay, so that's a thing. So I think I might have one of those recorders, FYI. I'd have to go digging around, but maybe I can find one of those for you. That could be it. Okay.
Lisa said, who is your favorite medium if you have one? Hands down, let me put it like this. If I could pay anybody to just sit down with, I will say that Lisa's a great medium, by the way. A lot of people in here are mediums, and they're great. Crimson Fire's another one. She's good. But I will say my absolute hands down, if I could just sit down and have a cup of coffee and like have a spirit session with them, Michelle Belanger, hands down. And people have offered her thousands of dollars to sit down with her and have a private session with her. She says she can't even put a price on her own sessions because she knows it would be too much. She would probably charge you about $20,000 for a session.
Oh, crap.
Just to sit down with her.
Oh, crap.
And so, because it's so exclusive and out of my reach, I would say Michelle Belanger. Now, realistically, like somebody that I could actually, that's tangible, that I could actually have a medium consultation with. One of the only other people I really trust that I know would do good, that 100% just on it, Chris Ashburn. She's gotten way too much good shit. She's good. So, yeah.
I love Chris. I've gotten to talk with her just a couple of times, and I think it was through Noah's channel. It had to have been through the 24-hour chat, but every time I've talked with her, she's like, shoot from the hip. No crap. I mean, she's just so down to earth. No crap. But she's so down to earth, and I think that we have a connection because of our pug nose. I think that's what it is.
I know she likes cheese, and I love cheese, and so we're cheese siblings. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheese.
Okay. I think we are headed towards the end here. I'm trying to look at my dang schedule of doom for all of the, I say doom, of all of this that we're doing, because honestly, people are like, hey, is it good the 26th, the 27th? And then this is just happening in my daily life. And I'm like, hold on, let me check StreamYard. They're like, what? You know, I'm just like, I don't even know anymore. My schedule has gotten so like in depth that there's so many people out there that want to tell their truths. And look, I can't even find it right now. So many people that want to tell their truths that I have to like start to schedule them out to a point where I am now in April, people. I am now in April. That's a thing. So I want to end here, if that's okay. I don't see any more things coming through. Is there anything else that you might have wanted to say in closing, Levi?
In closing, for real, look at the resources that I've talked about. Go and look at those people. I think there's a lot of people that they watch things like this, but they never actually go out and look at the resources people try to provide them. Go and look at these people. Go look at God is Gray. Go look at Kevin Garcia. Go look at Chris Ashburn. Go look at Crimson Fire. There's so many beautiful people out there that are so talented in what they do. And if we just look for the people that may know something that we don't know, it can absolutely enhance our mental health and our spiritual practice. And so just go out and reach for those things. Even if you think it won't help, try anyway. Just try.
Something that I am being not pushed to tell, but reminded to tell from somebody right now is that a lot of us are empaths. A lot of us are on this spiritual path. We're in this practice. we're throwing a lot of energy. We need to make sure that we give ourselves extremely good self-care.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as the daily goes, we forget to do that, and it's like an afterthought, but it really needs to be in the front front part of our brains, because we really need to take care of ourselves if we are deciding to use our energy the way we're throwing it.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, because we have so many different people in our tribe, in this community, check in with people. If you're one of my friends, you're going to know that occasionally you're going to be like, hey, how you doing? I get this. You're going to get this
I do
message.
that.
I'm just like always checking. We gotta check on people. Everybody's going through different things at different times, and the severity or the intensity of what they're going through is somewhat different. But the thing is, even though somebody may be going through something that looks horrific and huge, there are other people that have never experienced that horrific and huge. And so what they are going through is super intense for them. So if you have a friend that you know has struggling with anxiety or going through rough spots, check in. And it sometimes just getting a text when you wake up in the morning saying, hey, I was thinking about you and I love you, is the difference to make your day. It's a difference. It's something so cost you nothing. It costs you nothing, but it means so much to the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put that out there. I'm gonna put that out there.
Yes.
Check in, check up. We all love each other. Don't get lost in your lives. Don't get lost in that 9 to 5. Don't do it.
And don't take it. I would to add on to that. Don't take it personally if when you do reach out to some people that they push you away, because most of the time it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to
That's
do
a
with
good
you.
one. That's a good one. Yeah, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I do that all the time, and I'm like, they don't want to talk to me. I don't. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. Yep. Been there.
But I'm way too emotional. Like my friends that know me and love me, they are strong people to love me. And I thank you. I thank all of you. I thank all of you. Okay. So I just want to say that thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for rescheduling. And I hope that you get water soon. That is a good thing. So we've done this. Tomorrow we are talking to Tara Milligan, the fitness witch, at 10 a.m. Pacific. We will be talking to her and talking about all different kinds of things, probably going natural, because she went natural right after I went natural, and now she's growing out a buzz cut. We're going to talk about that stuff and truth talk and trying and being in an area, because I have been there, because I have delivered some Ravenflower Designs goodies to her in person. I just wanted to surprise her and make her smile. However, where we went is like Trumpville. And I'm like, how does this exist in the Pacific Northwest? She found the spot. She lives in Trumpville in the Pacific Northwest. So we're going to talk about some stuff. So there's that. That's happening tomorrow. And then Thursday, the 25th, I'm talking to Honey Owlet Moon. That is a reschedule because I fell down the stairs and there's been all this snow everywhere. Then Wednesday, the 24th, we are talking to Chris Ashburn. And then on, I can't remember which day it is, but I will schedule it. It's either the 26th or the 27th because there is a day of time difference. We're going to be talking to Elder Crow from Australia. And then we're going to talk about other stuff. Other people that are mentioned is we've got Crimson Fire. We've got Snow the Witch. We have my friend Miss Monarch M, who is an epidemiologist by day and a burlesque dancer by night. We are talking to various people of all shades, sizes, colors, walks of life. If you feel that there is somebody out there that has a story that wants to tell me their story, they do not have to be a witch. If they want to just come on here and have a forum to talk, send me their information. On top of that, Sir Aiden, you will send me links to not only your Patreon, but anything other goodies that you're working on so that I can put them in the description bar here. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I can do
then
that.
Aiden and I will also start figuring out what we're going to be. What is it? What is it? Ghost Space
Conspiracy
Marine?
theories
Yeah.
and ghosts. And
And
ghosts. I'm good with dead people.
yeah, yeah, so we're gonna do those things. We're gonna do those things. And you know what? I would really wish. Did I ever show you the video of when Bear and I and our daughter Amber stayed on the Queen Mary?
No.
Honey,
Oh, I'm excited.
honey, you
I
go search my channel and put Queen Mary in the thing, and you're gonna see there are orbs flying everywhere. There
probably
was a ghost
attracted to
that
you. I'm
took
just saying.
all of our hairbrushes. All of our
Yeah.
hairbrushes were missing in the morning. Every single one of ours. We had to go to like um, supercuts to just get our hair washed in the morning because none of us were so freaked out we couldn't take a shower in the morning. It was so bad. And then like doors knocking. I mean, it was whoa. Whoa. Like it was so much. So yes. So Aiden and I will get our crap together and we will figure out what we're gonna do monthly because I am like all about it. I'm all about it. Because he's the only one that gets me like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just not. I think over time, I think for a minute, I was afraid of the being open about my mediumship and everything because fear of backlash, fear of not being taken seriously by certain scholarly people in the witchcraft community. And at
Well,
this point, I just learned to not care as much because those people don't affect me and what
it
I'm
is,
doing.
it is it's the same thing when you're an artist, right? And I think that you are. When you're an artist and you start taking college courses, and all of a sudden it's just like, what's this and the perspective and the blah blah blah. It's just like you just ruined it for me, man. Like you just like those people who cannot teach and they are very judgy.
Yeah, I'm like all about like please mess up. Please do wrong things because if you don't do it wrong, you can never learn how to do it right.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
that's just me.
No, no, I totally agree with you. Okay, all right. Well, we are gonna love and leave you. I think my husband is back home from his dinner, and I'm gonna go check on the dog because
Yes.
she's needy.
Yeah.
She's a needy dog.
Love you guys. Thank you for being here.
You stay right there. Everybody else, many blessings, and we will see you back. Oh my God, what day? Tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow in the morning with Tara. Talk to you guys later.